So okay, so now I think I even have the microphone on, so you can hear me. Okay, so hopefully you can hear me again, and I'll be firing things up again here. So yeah, we'll see if you come back in again. So I'll let it be a little bit here so you can find it and come back in again. So yeah. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now it is up and running, and now I have, yeah, it is working. So hopefully you can come back in again. We'll see. We don't have anyone back in stream, so I'll hold off and wait here a little bit and have a sip to drink and take a cough drop in waiting for people to come back in again. Okay, I think we have people started coming back into the stream again, so I'm sorry about that, but now things are up and running and my Wacom tablet is on the line. So yep. Hi again, Samuel. So yep. So now we are up and running again. So now I can start zooming in here and see what we can get it back. I need to open all the folders and the source maps and stuff, so I have that too. Have that ready. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Carlos. So let's see here. We have there we go. I have some source maps. We have one interesting file source map that I didn't show before, but this one is credited with Eric Mona, but I'm not really sure. It's kind of it's a little bit of a hodgepodge thing. So it's kind of interesting. It's the Flanice map and the DA1 map and the map for the Sundered Empire all in one bit, put together a bit here. So that is the thing. But let's go in here and do what we were supposed to do, and that is to see if we can mark out the right island here, so to speak. So we can go here. I need white and black, and I'm using not the brush, I'm using the pen because I want sharp coastlines for this maneuver, so to speak, so I can use a mask when I'm painting in the actual terrain. So what I'm going to do is that we're going to get rid of this island and we use this one instead here. And now I want to double check to see that I have a little bit of shape dynamics and a little bit of change here, and maybe not that much scatter, a little bit of scatter. Okay, and then I paint with white, and now I can just, the beauty of using scatter and shape is that you get these kind of, otherwise you would get boring coastlines. Now I get these that varies quite a bit, and I think I can increase scattering just a little bit more here, like that. There we go. So now I can just go in here and paint in and follow this island here, because this is the best source we have. So I'm going to simply add a little bit here, and I know that some of these artifacts here are just part of the, yeah, that's the 2003 Chainmail Sundered Empire. Yep, that was the one we showed a little bit. So hang on a second, I can show you that map properly, so to speak. This map and that was, we had oh, now I forgot names here, so to speak. Oh, I should remember him. He's an awesome guy that runs Green Ronin games, and he talked about this. And now, well, he will come back to me, but he's the guy that runs Green Ronin games, and they created this to be part of the new battle system, and this was the western edge of it. So Chris Promise, thank you. Yep. Or Pramus, yep, thank you. So that is this, but I've kind of, I don't, this is have very much of that cowhide factor, so to speak, that it looks kind of, so I've actually I've used it as a base shape, and then I've kind of tweaked it and massaged it into and changed and made it into, on my global maps, into something that I think looks a bit more like continents rather than just triangles from a big thing here, so to speak. So it's a big blob, and then so it's basically this and this. These are the two maps that we have that are canon. And one of the things that really differs here is that this, the DA1 map, you have the connection between Hyperborea and Western Oerik here, and on this map there's the other set of islands, and this really narrow here, and this one is also narrow here, and then there's lots of islands, and here's just we don't know what's up here, so to speak. So that leaves us some breathing room that we can, and some creative license that we can kind of use for some of this. So I'm going to keep painting here a little bit, and now I'm going to create a really thin and narrow here, and just go and create the, and follow the shape. First I'm going to follow the shape very almost strict, so to speak, and use some of this that is probably just printing. The resolution from the print and the scan is kind of bad, but I'm going to use that to my advantage right now. And here we have it. So now I'm going to remove that one and say, okay, here we have the basic shape from the scan and the print. So now is the time to take some of these blobs are kind of very similar in size. So I'm going to cut away some and add some, keep adding, and hang on a second, that's too big. I'm going to, yeah, now we have it. So there we go. And then I'm just gonna see if I can create some, there we go. It's a little bit too much. Let's see if I can, I think it's a little bit too blobby. There we go. A bit less scatter, so I know what I'm doing here. Oops. Then we can go in here and work like this and create some detail on the coastline here and there when needed. And I'm working both add and subtract. So I use black and white. White adds, then I paint in the white, so to speak. And if I paint with black, that removes part of it. So that way I can add and remove things as needed. So I can just go in here and and add and remove little things here. So I just keep doodling around the coast here, and that way I can kind of create something that looks way more natural in, because this, you have to realize the scale here, every pixel here, if we move into, now we're into basically into pixels, so each of these pixels is about a mile. So that means that we have to have details. We need to have lots of details. I'm going to take away these kind of little bits here. So what we need to do is just add, and we can add a little island there and stuff. So and some bays and some inlets, and a little bit like this, just work with it. But sometimes I don't really like to work that close because it looks so bad, so I can zoom out a little bit here and just keep adding stuff. I'm removing a little bit here, and then I go back in and add little bits here as well. There we go. Okay. Yeah. This looks like a Muppet, so I'm going to see what we can do here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think it looked a bit like a Muppet with the nose, but sometimes it's fun to have a little bit of stuff in there. So let's go back and see. Yeah, I think we got something there. Okay. So there we have that island there placed in the spot where I think it should be all along. Yeah, Charles, I agree that the you need some details and stuff on the coastlines. The coastline should not just be barren. Depends on the scale. So when here's a scale of 1 mile, and as soon as you go in, there will be even more details. So coastlines are indefinitely long, so to speak, or infinitely long. The closer you look, the more intricate they become. So, but you need as much detail you can cram in, so to speak. That's what I like. And okay, so now we have these two islands here. I'm thinking, since we have Gary's map here, we're going to, because I like his map here, so we can, let's do this and see. We have these two here, so I'm not going to reference it exactly. I'm going to use it as a reference what I've done here. So what I think is that we can do is that we can just move these islands a little bit here. Oh, hang on a second, that way, and then we do this, and now we can just move the islands as needed. And hang on a second, we need to undo move selection. There we go. First of all, I saw something here that we need to do. We don't have enough white here, so I just need to paint in some white, or I can just do this. I can just go here and, oh, hang on a second. What we can do is that we can just fill the whole thing with white. That's easier. 100%, and we just fill it with white. That was not, I was supposed to fill not the mask, but this one. We'll see. Hopefully Photoshop understood what I wanted to do, so to speak. So no, it didn't. So I screwed that one up. So let's undo and make sure that I have the layer selected and not the mask. And we have some rivers here, so and urban areas, so let's turn them off. And now I make sure that I have the layer selected, and now I can press fill. And it should work this time. And this is why you need, when you work with this, you should have a really fast computer, because all these kind of little... Okay, that didn't do much, so to speak. So okay. Oh, gotcha. I didn't fill it with white. So there we go. So now that should... I have to check the colors. When you have the mask selected, it's white, but then when you select the layer, it becomes the last real color you used. So then it became blue. So there's always something. There we go. Now we have a full layer to work with. So, and that means that we can now go in and we can see the stuff that is outside of here too. So what I'll do is that we take these two, and we should have the selection. We should have a smaller selection that is just like that selection. And then we take it, and then we move these something like that, and then we can make them a little bit smaller too. Something like that. So now we take them into... So we have them there, and then I move in and we have Gary's map here. So we have these 3 islands will be these three islands, and it will also be an homage to the map, this island from here. So I think we kind of made it, and then this one will go. And then we have this coastline up here. That is the coast of Hyperborea, or Borea as I call it in my campaign, because Hyper doesn't sound like a continental name to me, but Borea sounds cool. So I'm going to call it Borea in my campaign. Okay, and then we have these islands up here, and they are beyond the scope even of this one, so we have to look into the TSR Earth, and they are beyond the scope of this one here too. So I think we're into uncharted territory here. So here we have, so this is, again, I'm relying on Gary's inspirational work here, so to speak. So, but he had some really large islands here, so I've downplayed it just a little bit and made a few more. So I made that his big island here, I've made it into small one. We can add a few more, and let's go in and make them sharp and play with them better here. So now it's time to go in here and see what we can get. We need to make it bigger here. There we go. But since he had a really big one, we don't need to worry. So let's go and increase the size first a bit here, and then we can cut it down to size afterwards. And then we have this one here. So I'm just gonna take all the blurry areas and just fill it with sharp white like that. And now we can reduce the size of the pencil a bit, and then start cutting away here a bit, and just go over. Now we need, I forgot to turn on more scattering again, and shape dynamics is there. So okay, because now when it's scattering, you can just go and actually I'm going to be inspired by Gary's island, and if you look at his island here, you can tell that this island is actually a little bit thicker in the eastern end and then a bit smaller in the other one. So I'm going to actually increase it just a little bit here and then remove some here. And I like that tiny little island that was there, so I'm going to, there we go, and then just going to remove it there. There we go. And simply add and blob it around like that. So there we go, and then keep. And I don't want too much Oumuamua spaceship over the whole thing, so a little bit of blobbiness is probably. There we go. And let's see what we can do here. There we go. And then I'm going to, again, I'm going to follow Gary's example here a bit, and it's always good to follow others' example, what they've done before, because then you can always say that, well, he did it first, so that way I'm just following what was already done. And I also want to, I don't want to invent things as much. I want to, as a cartographer, you're supposed to depict what's there. And since there is no real world, I have to use all the data that I can lay my hands on, so to speak, whether it's real data or like published data, or if it's only data that others, things that other fans have done. And Gary, he since he is a published Greyhawk author, that means that he has large clout, in my opinion, so to speak. So I'm going to pay a lot of attention to that. And we need to actually increase it this way and reduce it like that a bit and get it in there, and then cut away some here, and then oops, paint over these bits here. Something like that, I think. Yep. I think we have something that might work. And then we have this island here, so I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to add to this here. This is important because these are the first expansions of the map in 20 years. So we have to get this right. So this is something I will work on for like a month or so, all in all. And then hopefully this exercise with all the updates and the additions and stuff should be ready by Christmas. That's the goal. Okay, now we can start removing stuff here. There we go. Make it a little bit smaller brush when I'm removing. And adding stuff here a bit. You can have a little bit of a bay here with two islands, apparently. Something like that. So let's go with that. And I think that's, and then we need to clean up the coastline up there too a bit. That little Hyperborea that kind of peeks in here a bit, so let's fix that too. Increase it a bit here and switch to white, and then paint in this bit here. There we go, and then add here too. There we go. And now go and remove some of the, make the brush smaller again, and then tweak it back. Still feel like it's too big. There we go. That is better. Okay, there we go. Okay. I think that's the that is the right spot, so to speak, for them. So now I'm going to save again so we don't lose what I've done so far. And then I have the these little extra islands that I added in there. I'm not sure that we need to, they're too small to show up anywhere, so I just felt like there should be some islands out there, but we can kind of get rid of them too. We'll see. And first I need to, because I added my little thing here, what I call the Estold Islands that are way out here, but I'm not sure if they will actually show up on this map or not. So it might be time to that might be enough to add them or not, but we'll see, because they should be on here, and no, they're not. So okay, we can skip them for now. So they're beyond the scope for here, but we have some little islands there. So I'll keep them for now, and then we'll see what happens. Now we have these things down here, and that was the, not that one. Here is where they should be, I think. So I'll add that and turn this into lighten. Yeah, I think it's okay. Now I need to tweak this a little bit, because that one with Hepmona Land, that one is in the right spot. So it's actually this one that needs to be tweaked. So I make sure I put that a lock on that one, and then we go in here and we keep moving it till we get it to the right spot here. And now comes the tricky bit, because there is a little bit of, I think that's where I wanted. And now need to look at this. Okay. Yeah, I think this is I'm getting a little bit of a okay, yeah. So now we just need to add to, we don't necessarily need to add the whole of Hepmona Land, but we can if we want to. It's too much work, so I'm not going to add all of it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can, there we go. Now I'm going to add, let's see if I can, these are good. I'm going to copy merged and see if I can get both of them into one image. That is it, and I'm going to paste and I'm going to hide them. Yeah, now I got one image out of it. And since this is black and white, it means that I can make a mask out of it. Now I just need to feed Minnie here a little bit. She's been nagging me for the past half hour. So you have to always keep your familiar happy when you do stuff like this. Okay, so now I have this. Now I'm going to just going to select color range from here, and there we go. I'm going to lock that one into and then hide it, and now we can use we can go back in. First I'm going to save this mask and then call it Islands South, just to be sure. Okay, now I can deselect it, and now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to remove all these islands because they are more of a sketch. The other ones, I'm just to be sure what I'm doing here. Oh, that was not the one. That's the one. Now I'm going to see, okay, so which is the best one to keep? That one, or I think this is the, hang on a second, I need to zoom out a bit. Here we go. Now it's time to look at the this one again. So we have it here. So we have this one here. So keep that one in mind, and then we'll see. So if it's this version or that version. I'm not so sure. I'm starting. First, I didn't like the existing one, but in a way, I must say that I kind of like it, the existing one. So I think it's time to. We can kind of keep that one. Yep, this is when you work on things multiple times and come back to it later, then you get multiple versions of it. So I'm going to see. It should be. No, I like that one better. That one is too far up and it's not big enough. So I'm going to, just to be sure, I'm going to make a duplicate of this layer and hide that one, and then I'm going to go in and paint away them and then use the other one. Now I can take away the scattering here and make the brush big, or the pencil, and then just paint away the ugly bit. There we go. Oop. I can remove that one because I don't need it, and that's the combined one. And now I can tell it is a little bit. We can get it. There we go. That's the right spot. that's the right spot. Okay, so here we go. So now I should actually delete that one, delete that channel, and then redo it again. Make it normal and select color range white. So we did get it in the right spot. There we go. And save selections, islands, south. Okay, there we go. So now we can paint in the islands we want here. So I'm going to skip these because I already have islands there. So don't need to worry. Now I can just make it slightly bigger and then paint in the big one here. And then now it's time to take a peek at this one again, because there's a little speck there, there's some specks here, and then there's a specks there and there. So I'm going to keep this one on the side on my monitor to the right, and then I'm going to look at it. So we have a few specks up there, but I'm going to add them later. So I'm going to first add these. And then I'm going to add these as well. That is what I think is at the moment what I need to add right now. And then we need to look at, that's what I need to find. Yeah, that's yeah, yeah. Minnie, she unplugs it. I'm sure that's what she does. She goes under my desk and unplugs it. So yep. And now I need to find my Bridges awesome map that I have stored away in Evernote. So I can filter. There we go. Here we go. This map. Because we have Scuttle Cove, and so I'm going to adjust it a little bit to this map too. So we have to keep this in mind as well. So I'm going to put this one and put that on my right monitor and zoom in a little bit here. And I've already kind of stolen the islands from here, so this one matches fairly well. The only thing is that if we look at this map, we have Rugia further south. So we need to kind of take a look at that one too. And now I also need to make sure I'm looking at the existing map too and zoom out a little bit, because sometimes I get like blind at home here. So we have these now I need to look at I'm opening it up in the browser and use the easy zoom version. So here, so if we zoom in, so we have the Mist Kingdom here, and we have the Pirate Isles, and then Rugia here. And if we compare that to here, so we have the Mist Kingdom here, matches fairly well. That one it matches because I'm not sure when he did this map, and I'm not sure when I did, so we might have been inspired by each other, so to speak. And Rugia is here, and I know I put it there just to make sure it got in on the map, so we might need to move it around a little bit. That might be needed, so to speak. So these might want to go a little bit south, so we'll see here, because now we have a bigger picture to go by. So now we have a way bigger picture. But now I think we can probably Rugia, if you look at here Ruja is way to the southwest compared to it should be down here or something comparatively. So I'm starting to say that maybe we should kind of move that one down a little bit. So yeah, that's probably an idea. So let's deselect, and I'm just going to trace it and move it down so we have as a way to plan. And now I don't need any scattering, so I'm just going to paint in where the island is here. This doesn't need to be perfect because I'm just going to use it as a guide, and then I'm going to copy and drag this area when I've established where I wanted. So I'm just going to use it as a reference. Yep, Mike Bridges' map. That map is a real good map. I'm going to dot in, and there we go. So there we have Ruja. So now I'm going to take and select that. There we go. And now I'm going to move it to where I think it should be. I think it should be, according to Mike's map, it should be roughly there. And then we zoom out. And where did... Hang on a second. I'm just going to keep them open as a reference here, so then I'm going to go in here. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, so if we look at his map here, and I put that one there, yeah, I think that's roughly where we should be. Maybe we should be a little bit... Oops, that was wrong move. That's the one. Move it up just a little bit there. And then we go back in here and compare it. Yeah. I think it's a little bit too far west. So I'm going to... Oops. There we go. Then we take a look again. That's tricky. I'm going to settle there. I think that's good enough. That is good enough. So I'm going to deselect, and now we have a bunch of other little islands and stuff that we need to tweak, and kind of there should be 2 islands north of the of Ruja, and that means these 2 islands here are these 2 in the Mist Kingdom. So I think they're good. So, and then we skip it, and what we need to do is that we need to remove, and it keeps going back to that one, so I'm going to lock that island layer so we skip, otherwise it always wants to grab that one. So now I'm going to make it a little bit bigger here, and then I'm going to okay, it's from... Okay. So what we do is that I'm going to do this, and what we do now, we can go in here and paint in Isle of Dread, so we have that as a reference down here. going to paint in Isle of Dread. There we have Isle of Dread. See what we have in time. We have a little bit over half an hour, so good. So here we have the Isle of Dread, and then we have these islands that don't have a name. I don't think anyone have named them, but I'm going to paint them in here anyway for the time being. I'm going to skip this bit here for now, and there we go. Okay, and deselect. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Yeah, let's paint in the peninsula down here and these bits here and that and the coastline here, so we can get all the right references here while we're still at it. So I'm going to paint in these as well, and then I'm going to paint in this. So we get and we have this island here, and then we have that little triangle at the corner. That's seems to be an Earth or a Greyhawk thing. Is that everything you have corners like that? There is like a little triangle island that seems to be a Greyhawky thing. So I'm going to add here. Make sure we paint it in then. Then we're starting to have the outline of the additional land that needs to be done. And then I have to figure out what needs to be done for the atlas as well. So there we go. Now we can. Okay. Now maybe we need to tweak the coastline here after all. We'll see. Now I'm thinking not tonight, but I'm thinking for the updates and stuff. But so we'll see if we can how much we're going to add there. But my idea was to get this right, so to speak. And so let's see if we can move the move Ruja into its right spot. We can do that right away and see if we can fix that. And I have, this is the second, this is extended, so now I need to save under a new name before I start doing any changes here. So I'm going to save this again and just add a -2 at the end. Okay, so I hope this is interesting so far, so to speak, because this is a lot of that kind of tweaking and judgment calls and looking at the sources and going back and forth and then tweak it a little bit. So I'm hoping I'm doing the right judgment here, so to speak, so to make a reference map. And this is only the okay, good, thank you thank you, Samuel. So yeah, and this is the rough map of Hepona land, so to speak. So this one needs to go in and be one more refined to get in, but I don't think there will be time enough to do Hepona land, and I would have time enough to do the terrain. The problem is I don't have time to do all the research this fall on Hepona land, so I have to just add a bit of the islands, what's needed to make some more atlas parts here, so to speak. So this is what needed, and then just add down to Isle of Dread maybe. So yeah. Yep, that's good. Yeah, I'm a process person too, so I need to go back and forth and tweak it and look at the sources. And since yeah, that's very important to always go back and forth. And this is not the final. This is the first setting it down, and then it will probably be a few more tweaks before it's done, so to speak. But I liked where I want to have the island here. So yeah. Yeah, just yep. You've been here now when it's been made, when the first expansion in 20 years have been laid down. So you were here. So okay, so now I can delete this layer here, and then we make a copy duplicate of this layer again, so we have it. And now I'm going to take this bit here, and I'm going to actually draw a circle around it here. So I'm just going to draw a circle around these islands here and make that tiny little island there, and then simply do this. And now what we need to do is we can just drag it down to where we want it to be. So that's where we want it to be, and then we can deselect, and now I'm going to hide here, and now we have it in two places. So now it's time to go in and do some tweaking and stuff here. So I'm going to take the brush tool, and we have way too big of a brush here, something like that, and hardness low, and I want 100%, and I want flow rate of about 80 or something is probably good. See, I have no textures and nothing, and now I'm simply going to paint away the old bit here and just start painting over the ugly bits here a bit. And make sure I don't paint over that tiny little island, because I cannot like it. So now the ocean looks bad, but that's a whole separate sub-project to get all the island depths done. So the important bit here is to get the Ruja in the right spot there. So yeah, so that is in the right spot. Okay, let's see, do we have anything here that we need to? Yeah, we have some stuff that we need to. I'm kind of weird. There was something there that we kind of lost. Okay, we haven't painted that, so let's go in here, and there we go, and tweak these bits here too, and get them right here. Now I need a much smaller brush or pencil here, and then just go in and I can paint over the existing isles a little bit there. That's okay. And these don't match, so I'm going to deselect, and then I'm going to paint them in manually and actually tweak it. So now it's time to make some scattering, and then I'm going to make it way smaller than this, something like that. Then add the continent here. There we go, and then just add to the island there. So we don't need to be and add a little detail there. There we go, and then paint in that bit here too, so we fill in that bit. I might, now you can see that the coastline here is not good enough. These bits here are good enough, but not that. So I'm going to, and here is a little bit of a mess there. So, and the same thing here, I'm going to adjust them so they, there we go. Okay. So now we have the new islands here. So okay, So now I can use this as a mask if I want to go in and paint and do fun stuff with it. So we have about half an hour, so let's get in, and now we just worked with the mask, but I think we have where the island should be. So now it's time to start playing and see if we can put some terrain over these areas, so to speak. So I'm going to first I'm thinking what I'm going to start with this here, and I'm going to steal some terrain just for the heck of it. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to simply steal some terrain here. I'm going to steal quite a bit, but hang on a second. We should... Now it's time to do this. We need to have the clone tool. I'm going to... I usually try to steal roughly where you have, because I think these are full of jungles and stuff, so I'm going to take it there, and a line is off, and then I'm going to make it a little bit bigger like that. So, and then I'm going to put the mask and then hide it, and now it is time for the magic bit to just go in here. And first I'm just going to do this. And now I want to have some hills here. There, and I'm going to steal some here. Some in the south. And then we have some here. And this is what you use the clone tool for. You go in here and just take little bits here from... There we go. And maybe we can find some... Go north, south here in the middle here. There we go. So that was the rough start, so to speak. And now it is time to take a little peek here and see. You can tell it's not integrated at all in the... now you can really tell it's kind of looking real bad. We have nothing that looks like coastlines or anything like that. So what we need to do is to take some lowland examples here on the... We need to have some lowlands. I'm going to steal some lowlands up here, and I'm going to make it much smaller, and I'm going to... I think up here is probably a good spot. And now I'm going to reduce the flow, and I'm going to reduce the opacity a bit. Let's see, maybe that's too much, but we'll see. Might be too much. Now I need to... Hang on a second. Here we go. And this is not something I do every day, so this is a bit of an experimentation from my part, so to speak. So what I need to do is go in here and... Oops. We should probably have the mask on here. And now I can just go in here and start painting bits that should be kind of low-lying coast, like these bits here. So I'm just gonna add them in. And this is cheating. I know this is cheating, but this is what is needed to do something that is not going to be super detailed. So I don't normally do this because I want to use like World Machine or something really nice, but this is going to hopefully be something that can be redeemed in some years and be much much better in a few years in the future. I'm only touching parts here, so I'm so, and I go around the island. Now I'm taking away the deselect, and this is a little bit better. Now we are in on something a little bit. So what I want to do now before we do anything is that I want to, we have the shallow ocean here, so I'm going to see if we can use a brush tool here and add some shallow ocean. Now I'm just going to do a test here. Yeah, that is, I'm going to do like 50% and about 60 there, and then add some texture. That was a bit too much. I just want it, I don't want so much contrast. There we go. And then reduce the brightness. Well, let's just try it and see if it works. Oh, I'm not so impressed, really. Maybe we just a little bit hardness and put some scatter in. I want to have texture. Can we find something that can that work? That might work. Maybe. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. This. But hang on a second here. Now we need to, I can remove that afterwards. I can remove that afterwards. Because now I'm painting this over, I'm actually painting over the land too, and that was not the idea. But what I do, I can fix that in a little bit of a moment here. So what I do is that I go back in here and then I inverse select, and then I go in and use the pencil tool and make it big. The pencil is much better because you know it works in basically just black and white. Oops, that was the undo pencil, and then inverse. So, and now we just remove the shallow ocean over the landmass here. There we go. Okay, now we just need to do something about these shorelines, get some beaches in, and that is normally something to put like here. And now I need that subtlety of a brush, so I'm going to do a tiny little bit here, and then I'm going to choose a beach color. So I'm going to do something like this, and maybe something like that, and then an opacity of 15-19% and something like that, and then that's roughly good. Yeah, and now I need to have a little bit more precise. but I want some texture. I don't want scattering so much. There we go. Something like that. Okay, now we can go in here and see if I can paint in some beaches. Now a little bit more opacity, 38%. There we go. So we paint some nice tropical beaches around the edge here. Not everywhere, but in some areas can be a little bit more beach. And here is a perfect 10-mile long beach here, 15 maybe. Then we have a little bit of a beach in here, like that, and then a beach down here, and a little bit of beach there. So it's interesting when you make islands that you don't even know the name of. So this is the biggest of the pirate isles, I guess, and it is in the glossography or the boxed set, but we don't have a name for it. So oops, no beach there by the cliffs, so skip the beach there. Oh, hang on a second, I'm not working in a mask, I'm painting straight on, so I now need to undo. There we go. Now I'm actually working destructively, so to speak. I'm actually painting pixels on. I'm not normally I try to work with masks, but I just wanted to be lazy and I was eager to get this done, so to speak, and I'm starting to trust my abilities a little bit to do this. And now I'm just adding in here a little bit there. And we have some beaches up here on the northern fringe of the island here too. A little beach there and some tiny ones there and a big one here in this bay in here with this little inlet there. And it doesn't matter at times if this gets a little bit wonky here and there because it's terrain, and terrain can be a bit kind of weird at times. So if you got these kind of inconsistencies and stuff, if sometimes it's the mistakes that can turn out to be the best. They can start looking real natural, so to speak, and I think I want to beach that, not the whole way out there. So there we go. Yeah, I want a little bit of beach in here to just some small little doodles in between here to kind of take the edge off there, but there we go. And just a little bit there too. And here I'm just hitting with the brush in various places just to break up those harsh lines that looks like it's just been I want it to look like it belongs, that I don't want any harsh lines, and because that kind of looks too harsh, but I want it to look too soft either. So okay, now I'm going to save again because this was fairly okay result for just being a real quick and dirty job. So it's time to save again. So now we got a chance to see some. So this is the quick and dirty way of doing it in Photoshop. You just steal terrain from other bits, but we're not done yet. So because now you can actually, if you really look around the map, you can kind of see that I've taken the bits and pieces from other areas. So I wanted to have a little bit of its own feel to it. So now we need to go in and tweak things a little bit here and there and change colors and stuff, because those are the brown kind of lava basalt mountain colors of hell furnaces. So now we need to tweak it a little bit. So I can go in and tweak that. So we have some special tricks for that too. So now I'm going to go here and I'm just going to take the island here and I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to paste it as a new separate layer on top of it, and I'm going to select this area and I'm going to go in and filter and take camera raw filter. If you want to tweak terrain, this and the colors of terrain, this is the tool you want, because now, and this is going to look funky, but the only thing I want to really change the colors, because the jungles and the lowlands and the beaches I'm perfectly happy with. It's the colors of the mountains that I want to tweak, and I want it to be more gray, less brown. So I'm just going to look at the bare rock sticking up here, the hills sticking up. The rest I'm going to ignore, so to speak. So that's the interesting bit here. So I'm going to go into the first I'm going to start with the saturation, and I'm going to tweak the reds and the oranges a bit here, because that's where I think we will get, and the yellows a bit here. There we're starting to get somewhere. So I'm going to, now I've taken away the edge of it, so to speak. Now I can go into the basics and I can change the color temperature a bit on the whole thing, so to speak. And again, just look at the rocks, nothing else, and tweak it a little bit, and then add a touch. There, I think it's good. And now I'm going to have that on top. And now I'm going to have a mask and hide the whole thing. And now I'm going to take a little brush again, and I'm going to use the one I used for, same brush I used for painting beaches, but I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger. And now I can just add in the that's, I can add way more opacity. So now I can just go in and tweak the colors of the areas where we have the mountains. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. There we go. And see what we do here. And I can add a bit more oomph to it here. And now I'm starting to get the feel that nothing happens. So I'm going to disable the layer mask, and yeah, it is happening. So, and maybe I was now I'm getting second thoughts here that I didn't like it. So let's go in here and add a little colorizer to it here, and then remove it down to, normally I love camera raw, but today it didn't work, so I'm lazy. So I'm going to increase the saturation a little bit and then move it over to the cold side here. There we go. And now I'm going to just do this, and then something like that. So now we can see that we have, it's way, now I can tweak it until I get it right. Something like that. That will do. Now I can go in and paint it so we can see it again. I can tweak the hills here so we get them a bit more granity and less kind of lava basalt brown. I want them more like normal rugged mountains. And it's okay to paint over a little bit of the forest, because it could be like less dense forest, so you have the mountain sticking through, but that bit there doesn't look good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tweak that in a little bit, and I'm going to make that into jungle or something. So I'm going to tweak so we get some ridges here too. Okay, yep, that will do. That looks good. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take these 3 layers and I'm going to merge them all down. So there we go. Now it's part of the same layer. And now we have this area here that I don't like. So I'm going to take the clone tool and I'm going to simply steal some southern coast here. There we go. And I'm going to paint over some of the ugly bits here. There we go. There we go. That looks better. And then I'm going to take some jungle here and fill in the gaps. And then I'm going to take a little bit of that and add. There we go. And I also try to work as much as possible at 100% resolution or zoom, because that way you can get the best quality possible and you can actually see. This is where you see all the details. So if you're going to print it at best quality or whatever, this is what you get, so to speak. And then when you want an overview, you can get a zoom, but you can zoom to more than 100%, but then you start getting pixelation and you're getting all sorts of artifacts and stuff that are weird. But sometimes it's good because there's some blue little dots and stuff in there that I don't like. So I'm going to get a tiny little clone brush here and just clone them over. And now it's time to boost the opacity to 100% and just get rid of these blue pixels here and there. There might be some more here, or some artifacts there too, so I'm just gonna remove when you clone, you get these kind of weird little artifacts that kind of are here and there, so I'm going to go in and tweak them and get rid of them. There we go. There too. And we have another little snaky river here. So I'm going to steal some jungle there, and then I'm going to tweak it. And same thing here. There. And then keep a look at for other inconsistencies. There are some blue pixels. There is a blue pixel. I'm going to kill that. There's some these are kind of cool because they can be landmarks of some sort, so I'm going to add in. There we go. Yeah, they're actually beach. They are from the river system because they are the mud under the rivers when I cloned it in, so that's where they come from. But I'm going to add in rivers. That's the next step here, is to actually add in rivers. So we're going to do that. So I'm going to tweak it, and actually they are in kind of a good spot, but I want to do that with a bit more. But like that river there is kind of, yeah, that works. So we can kind of keep that one, but this one doesn't look good, so I'm going to tweak it away here. There we go. There's a little bit there too. And then we have that one doesn't look good. So, and to be honest, I don't like that one that much either, so I'm going to tweak it back in there. There we go. And there's some little, I'm not going to kill them completely. I'm just gonna, so there we go, tone them down a little bit. Okay, now we're starting to have our island here, I think. Let's see here. Okay, let's do some work with some rivers here. So we have these are the river system is a separate layer what I actually put, and under the rivers I use this mud color. So let's go and find the mud color. I'm just gonna duplicate the layer I'm working on, and then I'm deleting that one because I like the island good enough. So okay, so now I'm going to take the brush here and I'm going to make a real small one here because we're going to work with, oh come on here, so there we go. Hi Troy. Yep. So yep, so I'm going to really small rivers here, so there we go. And I'm actually, just to be sure, I'm going to paint on a layer on top here just to be on the safe side. Yeah, I need to remind you guys more and post. I think I posted almost everywhere, but I know it's difficult to get to everything in time. There's so much to watch, and this is on the boring side too. So yep. Okay, so let's go in here and start thinking where we should have a little bit of river here. I think it's normal. Hang on a second here. Now I'm okay. I'm painting and nothing happens. So do I have a selection? No, I don't have a selection. Okay, so now I need to. No, it's not the Wacom. It's one of these other things that if I paint on that layer, no, nothing happened. Okay, let's make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay. So it is the size of something here. Ah, we have the texture. That's it. That's the culprit. So we can make it smaller and we can actually do this. And yep, there we go. Now we have it. So now I'm going to decrease the flow a bit and make it a little bit smaller, and then simply start the river from there, and then just so we don't have, it's not long rivers, it's just, and I like the idea of having a river there. I just want to make sure that we paint it in here. And this is just fake and not real 3D terrain, so that means that I just have to make a good educated guess, so to speak, where and simply it's artistic license to put them where I want them. So but this is a tropical island, which means that there's lots of rain, which means that there should be lots of rivers, but it's only the ones that are big enough to show up here. So and then we can make, and this is the mud that is under. I need to paint in the actual blue afterwards here, so we can have a little bit of river going up in the valley there. And then we can have one here that goes up that way. And here we have an interesting, it looks like a canyon here, so I'm going to paint in a little river in the canyon there, just for the heck of it. And then a little bit of meandering at the end here, and then it forms a little bit of a going out that way. And here we should have a tiny little river going that way. There we go. And then we can have a little one going that way too. So, and we should probably have one here. So, oops, we can actually delete that bit. There we go. Okay, thank you, Samuel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Yep. Okay, so let's see. Oh, we have 8 viewers. That is probably a record. I think maybe I've had 10. We'll see. So there we have it. Now I'm kind of happy with how that turned out. So I'm going to merge that down into here. Now it's time for put Minnie down so she can go and eat and drink. So there we go. Okay, now it is time to take a peek and kind of look at the rivers here. And this is masking, so I have a layer with a mask. So I just need to first I need to add because it doesn't cover the whole. Well, I don't need to do it now. It covers the island, so I don't need to worry about it. We have 5 minutes over the planned time, so I'm going to oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yep. So I'm going to add this and add the rivers and see if I can finish them up, and that will be the end of today's session, so to speak. So another 10 or 15 minutes or something. So I'm going to work with the and I'm going to make it one smaller here, and now I'm going to put the 100% and 100%. There we go. And then paint in the rivers here. And here we go, and add a little bit of river there, and paint in a little river here. Uh-oh, Patrick. Oh, I hope you're doing good. Yeah. And here we go. So I'm going to add in that little canyon, and then we follow the meander down to the ocean there. There we go. And let's see here what we got. I think that was it here. And here we have one. That goes there and follow that bit here. And then we have this one here. Then we have a little bit of one there. And then I'm also going to see if I can go and maybe paint in a lake or two. We'll see. But I think this is good enough. I think lakes will come automatically in World Machine 2, a lot of small ones. So then we round it that way and put it up here. Yeah, I think that was it. Let's zoom out to 100% and take a look at what we've done. I'm not sure what that is called, but it is the island. It's this island here that was in the glossography, or the map that was in the box set, in the glossography, or in the other booklet, the atlas booklet. It was here, so it's that island that I've put in here. So, and now when I can see it, it seems to have a bigger blob in the south than it has. Well, no, it's not too bad. It actually, it's kind of, it follows the style there. So I don't know what this is called, but it would be kind of cool to have a Darlin Island. Oh, and now I see that I have some good. Let's do that as the shallow ocean there. So we have this bit of shallow ocean. So let's just copy and move that to down here. And now hang on a second here. Undo move. Now not really sure where the I painted on another layer on top here, so that is something I need to figure out. Okay, I need to figure that out after a little while here. So let's make sure I save this, then I'll fix that later. But that was, at least we've added the first new terrain in 20 years. It's been added to the map, and I think it's kind of cool. So we started to tweak the island. So now I need to tweak these things here. We need to tweak that, move that down here, and clean up some of the islands, add some of the other small islands here. But I think it's kind of cool. We've got the first added terrain in 20 years. And it's a bit of a hasty work, but it doesn't look too bad. Okay, yeah, maybe. Okay, yeah, that's cool. I like when we can build in stuff like that. It's like the continent that I put in the middle of the Solnor Ocean, and I call it Menseri because it's an homage to Frank Menser and his Antaria or Aquaria that I have signed an NDA, so I can't use any of that material, and I don't think Frank Menser wanted any of it out, so to speak. So that means that I've done a different setting that is slightly inspired by that, and I will in my campaign call it Menseri as a homage to Frank Menser, and put it in there. So that's what I will do, so to speak, in the center of the okay, cool. So then we need to put Darlin Island. Okay, so that's something for to put in there. Okay, we need to talk to Gary and bring it up in the next Legends and Lore and see what everybody says about it. But I'm happy with the result for being a quick and dirty job in like, we spent like 40 minutes or something doing the island itself. And it has some detail, and it fits in with the terrain. So that will be the approach to make when it comes to create the Isle of Dread down here too. So I will tweak it, but then I will need to tweak even more of it, so to speak, and stuff. Oh, thank you, Troy. Yep. So that will be it, and now I've saved it. So I'm going to yeah, I think it's time, and we've gone almost 15 minutes past 2 hour mark. So I'm going to end the stream for this period. Thank you everyone who's been with me and cheered on and so on, because I just think it's too boring to watch this, but it's kind of cool. This was historically breaking. This was the first time in 20 years that we broke new terrain, so to speak, and changed things and added. We haven't been outside the maps. Well, we kind of we have, because we moved Rugia outside of the map border, and then we added some terrain in here, and then we're going to move down and do Isle of Dread and stuff. We'll see if we do that for next stream or something, but it's coming. So there will be added work and stuff like that. So okay, so thank you everyone for coming, and I hope you have all a wonderful weekend. And then next week we'll be back with Legends and Lore and Gabbins and a full thing when Jay is back from vacation. So thank you everyone. I'm going to put the end logo up. So thank you everyone for watching, and I'll catch you soon.